Welcome to Love Light, the only podcast dedicated to bright, fine art photography. Hosted by Sarah Jane Ethan, Love Light is here to celebrate all things bright, pretty and pastel. At Love Light, white is the new black and beauty is in the detail. This is your place to relax, a place to belong, a place to be inspired and connect with like-minded colleagues who share your passion for light and beauty. So come and introduce yourself in the Love Light Facebook group and subscribe to the Love Light YouTube, podcast and Instagram for your weekly dose of inspiration and connect with bright, fine art photographers from around the world. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Love Light podcast. Today we've got a very special guest because this guest has been requested by the members of the Love Light group, and this is André Teixeira, who is his company is called Branco Prata, and I actually didn't check where you are based. Where are you based, André?
In Portugal.
In Portugal. So, André has a multidisciplinary creative studio with his partner Sophia, who do photography and floral design and creative direction. So this is going to be fascinating to find out how your business is structured and how you came up with this idea. And it's obviously been very popular. And André is shooting all over Europe and running workshops everywhere and does one-to-one mentoring. And he's been photographing for 20 years and for the last 11 years with his own business, but before that shooting for other people. And he also had a very interesting start in photography, which we're going to find out later. So thank you so much for coming and joining us, André.
Yeah,
it's so wonderful to have you here.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. It's a pleasure to be here and a huge honor, obviously, to talk a little bit about my journey that has been a very long journey now.
I love it. It's so good to have you here because you've been photographing for 20 years.
And 20 something. It's like, my memory is not the same anymore.
but I love it. And you had, I've alluded to this in your introduction, but you had a very interesting start to photography because you started in the press.
Yeah.
So, I love that. So tell me a bit about how you got into photography and how you got into doing press photography.
Okay, so when I was 17, I had to decide what to do next in terms of school, and my first thought was to be in videography. I had and still have two big passions. It's music. I used to be a musician. I never believed that I would have a career in music, but we were pretty good here. We had a few gigs, and I was a drummer, and then I became the singer, and we won once a contest to Coca-Cola, and we did ads to them, a few interviews, national TV. So it was fun. It was a fun experience. But the other passion is football. I'm not like crazy. I'm not a hooligan. I love the football because I love the game and I love to be there. It's like my mind goes somewhere else just to the game and forget about everything. So I thought, hey, it would be funny to have maybe I could go to videography and be able to, in 17, we don't think very clearly about things. I want to be an artist, but I want to be able to go to the football games and be there on the field recording it. It would be my dream job. But then I think it was maybe 1 week before I tried to get into videography school. It was something that I don't know. I'm a very skeptic person. I don't believe in and things very spiritualist, and I just thought, maybe photography it's best for me. Never thought about photography. My father used to take a lot of pictures, but like photos of family moments. Not very into the photography. But then I was like, okay, maybe I should go to photography. And I applied to that school and I had to do an interview with the director. It was an art school. They had theater and everything that was into the theater, like lighting, sound design, everything. And they had photography as well. So I had to do an interview. So I went to the last floor of the building, had an interview. It's very scary for me to have to be interviewed with my, I kept 17. They were asking me stuff about photography, why I wanted to be a photographer, blah, 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 blah. And I talked like maybe 1 hour or something with them. And they told me at the end, like, okay, thank you so much for coming. We will contact you in a few weeks. You will be know we will tell you if you were accepted or not. Mm-hmm. And yes, I was uh, going downstairs, and then at reception they called me, and the girl told me, "You have been accepted into the school." I was so happy. I was like, "Okay." I had to wait for a few weeks, and just like, no, they really loved you.
Wow.
And you were accepted. So I did my 3 year photography classes with incredible photographers, like top photographers from Portugal, and that's where I started to love photography. I learned so much of photography. They introduced me to so many amazing photographers that I was. So I remember it to be like my heart was pumping all the time. Every time I see pictures, like composition, learn about everything about that. After that, I went to Milan to do an internship at called Instituto Europeo de Design. It's like a European design institute. It was very well known at the time. And that's where, because all my photography studies were photojournalism, 35 millimeter black and white. So no color. We had to learn everything about 35 millimeters, like developing everything.
Wow.
So when we went to Milan, we got introduced to medium formats and large formats. It was a whole new world for me. It was like, oh my God, what is this? This is incredible. When I came back home, I tried to find a job in photography. I couldn't, so I had to do other things. And then I was invited to start to work on newspaper uh, for motorsports. Right. And I always loved cars. So I had to be on the tracks shooting the cars, like, wow. So I had to do rallies, Formula One, everything related with cars. I had to do it because it was a corporation with several newspapers. I had to do a little bit of everything, politics, and that was something that I didn't like it very much. But the truth is, it helped me so much in terms of photography to be very spontaneous, to try to
interesting,
to deal with all the adversities of, like the weather, of people getting into in front of you, trying to think a bit ahead, like in terms of where can I put myself to get like a better shot, try to think about what is going to happen, like trying to predict something that would. This helped me a lot in my wedding photography.
Yes.
When I think about this, it helped me very much.
Interesting.
So then I started to work with, like, I have a friend of mine that was a wedding photographer. He invited me to go to shoot a couple of weddings with him as a second shooter. Like weddings 20 years ago they weren't anything like weddings today. So, the truth is, it was good money. I had anything that I liked about the weddings. And then he asked me to shoot a couple of weddings of my own, very stressful. And we had like I wouldn't say like a conflict between both of us, because he always asked me to shoot everything with a flash, and I always were into natural light. So, my heart sometimes was like, yeah, I don't need a flash to do this. Let's take the photo. And then he was looking through the images like, yeah, I don't like this. Then I was like, no, it's enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Um, and then I came to a point in the newspaper when they had to do the switch to digital.
Right.
And I did like a couple of jobs with their own cameras, and it was so painful for me to work with the digital because everything I know it was something that I I wasn't enjoying it what I was doing because first of
Yeah.
all the quality of the images weren't the same as the film at that time. The
Mm.
quality was very very bad.
Yes.
And then it was something like with a camera. It didn't have the soul that the film camera had. I saw myself like after a couple of years shooting, taking the picture, not thinking about the photo that I took, but thinking about the next one. And then I was seeing myself reviewing the images, and I
Yes.
thought there was something immediately that came to me that I'm not I'm not enjoying this where this
Interesting.
photography thing is going. And I
Yeah.
remember I was on a football game shooting because I was doing motorsport and also doing a couple of football matches um, for the newspaper. And I saw like I don't know photographers on my side with shooting for 40 years,
Mm.
always on film, and they were shooting in digital. And it looked like they didn't knew what they were doing because
Wow.
they were always reviewing the images like, okay, let me see if I did it right.
Interesting.
And I was a little bit tired
Yeah. So do you
photography.
feel that switching to digital actually undermines your confidence then? Because you can look at the picture you do, and then it makes you doubt what you're
Yeah,
doing. Is that what you were
it's some
noticing?
yeah, it's something that it's like it's funny because I see a lot of photographers, friend of mine, film photographers, digital photographers, and they always do that. And it's like we take a lot of pictures because we have memory cards, and then we can download them. We can format the card and use them again. And it's not the same when you do the film because
Mm.
it costs money, costs a lot of money,
Yeah.
and you need to be very careful with like composition, the
Yeah.
technical side of the photography, lighting and everything. And you take the photos in a very slow pace,
Yeah.
and you know that images is going to be good. It's when you know what you're doing,
Hmm.
because it's been a part of my life for this 20 something
Yeah.
years, like the technical
Yeah.
side of it. You
I
just
think
need,
that's a really
like,
good side of film because I don't I shoot digital myself, but I always try and challenge myself. Now, if I was shooting film, would I take this picture? Do you know, is it worth it?
yeah,
Do you know, like have I really thought about my
yeah.
composition and try and press the shutter as little as possible? And I get back into lazy habits of just going click, 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 again. But I challenge
It's
myself, no, I've got
inevitable.
to think, like really concentrate. So it
It's
sounds like that's
inevitable. It is because you always be overshooting
yeah,
because you can.
yeah,
You will take, and this reflects in your workflow after the wedding because
yes,
instead of having, let's say, uh, 1,400 photos, you will have 5,000 photos, and then you
right,
have to
yeah,
uh, call images and have like 600 to deliver or 700 or something or 800. I don't have
yeah,
like a specific number. It always goes around 600 to 800
yes,
photos.
yeah,
Always also depending on the number of days they hire me, because
yeah,
sometimes we have like a welcoming party and then
yes,
we have brunch after. Um, but I couldn't. I literally hate editing.
right,
It's something like being in front of the computer, editing. It's something that messes with my mind. It's
right,
always it's like I can't stay in front of the computer more than 15 minutes.
right.
So I have to. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. I'm going to drink a coffee. I'm going to get a cup of water or something. I always have to
Yeah.
do something. But with the film, it's completely different. It's like I
Yeah.
don't shoot film because it's like, oh, I want to be a film photographer. It's
Yeah.
been part of my life.
Mm,
So I know the differences between shooting film. Sophia's always tell me that when I'm shooting, because I also shoot digital,
yeah.
obviously on the wedding day, I try to, as long as I have like good light, I shoot everything on film. I would say like 80%, and then we have 20% of the wedding that I shoot digital.
Yeah.
And normally it's like the party or something, and it's not like it doesn't request a lot of technique. I have my own
Mm,
way of doing things. I know it will work,
yeah.
and the light will be this like very close to the parties in the US or a party in the south of France or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's going to be almost the same, and it's not stressful because in terms of edits, it's very easy. I don't need to match my uh, image at night the same. I don't need to edit them as my film, so I don't do hybrid during the day. I could take a couple of images. Sometimes we need to show the couple or show someone like when you feel that they're a little bit uncomfortable or something.
Mm,
We show the image just to make sure they like, okay,
yeah.
this is me. Okay, perfect. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I work. It's like I work like that. So there's not like a one reason to shoot the film.
Mm,
I shoot film because I love to shoot film. Obviously,
yeah.
makes me think a little bit more about the composition and everything. But
Yeah.
obviously, I don't shoot everything with medium format. I also have a 35 millimeter camera that
Yeah.
is so much easier when you have like fast things happening and like
Yeah.
autofocus and everything. You can take a couple of photos.
Yes. So is that how you
Um,
divide your time between, because you've got a Contax camera that you're shooting on, haven't you? I think
yeah,
it's like the dream camera. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants that
yeah.
camera. So you're shooting on that for the ones that you feel more in control of, and then shoot digital for the more unpredictable moments of the wedding, or how do you decide when to
No, I
shoot
do.
digital?
No, I do. I always do the film. So 35 millimeter film
Yeah.
and the contacts. So the contacts
Okay.
is like when we have more time to do like portraits, details, everything in a very on a more controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I use it everything in manual. I'm not used to shoot with the contacts with autofocus because it's very slow. So I have to use
Yeah.
it on manual, and it's easier to do that with the contacts when I have like moments that I need to be faster. I use my 35 millimeter camera. So
Right.
my 35 millimeter camera does the documentary side of the photo reportage,
Yeah.
and my contacts does like the pretty things,
No, the pretty
the,
things.
the pretty things,
Amazing.
all the portraits and details and family
Yeah.
photos, and and the 35, I shoot also a lot of 35 millimeter, but it's like for faster things when we need to
Yes.
be, you know,
And so you
uh,
mentioned that you don't like doing editing. Do you do your own editing, or for the digital stuff, or do you get somebody else to do your editing?
so, no, I do mostly everything, but I don't have a lot of images to
Yeah.
edit, so it's fast.
Yeah.
I put a photo a couple of minutes ago on the Facebook
Oh, did
group.
you?
Yeah, because you were asking, okay, the when was your first wedding? When will be
Yeah.
your first wedding? And I put a photo of a wedding that I did um, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, amazing.
And someone just, I think it was Matt. He was like, "Oh, it's you. You're fast." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fast because I have a lab working on my images, and my lab actually does something that it's very interesting because
Mm,
I always send them my calendar, so they
right.
know they will deliver film on the 21st of February.
Ah, I
So
see.
they will have someone ready um, to get my film to develop and to
Yeah.
scan, and in 1 week my film is ready.
That's incredible. So what lab do you use for your
The
film process?
Carmencita.
Say that again, sorry?
It's Carmencita.
Right.
Here, it's
Yeah.
Carmencita in Spain. It's the same
Amazing.
one that Isabel works with. I'm
Right.
working with them. I'm working with them since the very first day. Actually, I worked with them before they had the company. So they have like
Right.
a very small studio. I'm a personal friend of the owners, Miguel and
Right.
Albert.
Although,
So I
although you
used
strike me as the kind of person who's personal friends with everybody. You just make friends with everybody.
I do. I do. I
I
do.
bet. I bet. We name a person. Andrew will know them, or will know somebody who
I,
knows.
it's it's been so many years in the industry, and I'm always very positive about everything,
Mhm.
and I like to think that I do a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends in the industry, although this industry can be very tricky.
Mm.
Uh,
You have to find the right
but
people.
I'm very
Find the right people.
fortunate. Yeah, you have to find your own crew.
Yeah.
People that you love and you can speak with them. You have like honest conversations with them,
Yeah.
and it's very good for you, for your soul. Like
Yeah.
to feel very very inspired with
Yeah.
it. Although I do not follow a lot of wedding photographers. I'm not,
Mm.
constantly seeing, oh my God, what an amazing wedding, my friend. I follow my friends,
Yeah.
but it's like I don't follow a lot of wedding stuff because I want my hair to be a
Yes.
little bit more clear. So if you ask me, like, my favorite photographers are all about fashion and street photography. All of them,
Interesting, because that's what
all of them.
inspires you creatively to think
Yes, yes.
outside the box, and I love that.
It's photographers that do like like the masters. I
Yeah.
call them the masters of
Yeah.
portraits and street photography because it's something that I really love to do. Is street photography. Doesn't matter if I use a proper camera or my
Mm.
iPhone. Until I don't know, a couple of months ago, all my photos on my personal Instagram were from my iPhone because I
Yeah.
found it very. It was a challenge to take like pictures
Mm.
on a smartphone. It's
Yeah.
a smartphone. It's not a camera. It's although I have a good
Yeah.
camera, but it's like okay, let's try to do. I always love to experiment stuff. So
Yes.
that's why me and Sophia
Mhm.
constantly challenge me to do things that I'm not used to,
I love
and
that because
and
My
then
husband Matt's actually very good at that. He takes pictures on an iPhone, and I'm like, I would never know that was on an iPhone. I can't do it as well as
yeah,
he does. But like you said, it's good to give yourself a poor piece of equipment, and then see what can I do with this. Like, can I actually produce something I'm proud of when I'm not
it's
got
good.
ideal equipment? Yeah.
It's good because like people can think that okay, after 20 years you know everything. I don't know nothing. So it's true. It's like I tried different film stocks with my camera, and I sometimes we do editorials.
Mm.
Here we have a very um, good crew that we love to work because creatively it's very intense because
Yeah.
everyone everyone has their own line of work. Like Sophia doing creative direction, and then she does the flowers, and then we have to work with the makeup artist, with the hair designer,
Yeah.
uh, and all of them add something to the creative side of
Yes.
the editorial. So it's very good because we all do experiments. And sometimes I tell them, okay, we're doing this editorial with very, very, very low lights. So I have to shoot everything in black and
Cool.
white.
One
I'm
second,
going to
Andrew.
push.
Just take your hands. Yeah. Yeah. You just covered the mic.
Okay, sorry. So
Yes,
I
you got
tell
your
them like,
editorial.
okay, we're going to do an editorial with very, very, very low lights.
Mm.
I had to push film. I will use only black and white, and we could have like it could be a good surprise, a good outcome, or a very bad outcome. And they are like, we don't care. It's just spending here the time. all together,
Mm.
thinking about something to produce
Wow.
something, imagery, something that we can or not use on our
Yeah.
portfolio.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, everything that we did until this day, we use it on our
Oh,
portfolio.
that's good. That's good.
It's good, but it's a team effort. And it's
Yeah.
something that we always, here at Blanco Prata, we always
Yeah.
value is
Yeah.
team,
So is that something that you
everyone.
find is quite important for, because you mentioned earlier that after 20 years of doing this, it can be hard to keep your passion for things. Is that one of the things that you do to keep your passion and your creativity alive, is doing collaborations
Yeah,
like this? And are there
yeah,
other ways that
yeah.
you keep that creative passion going?
Yeah, I had around, so we started the company in 2004. I think it was maybe 2 years or 3 years before I had a burnout.
Right.
Um, because creatively, I wasn't doing anything. I was just
Right.
shooting for the press, like doing everything
Hmm.
the same way all the time. And I had the burnout. And then obviously the digital also helped for my burnout because I didn't want to shoot digital at that time. And I quit photography and I sold my cameras, everything. I just
Wow.
didn't want to take any more pictures. So we started the company in 2004
Mhm.
without photography, just creative direction, event design, and floral design.
I
So
see. How interesting.
I was like a Sophia assistant, so I was helping
Really?
her. Yeah, because we really like it was like a random conversation, and friends. We were actually watching a football game. Sophia invited me to go to her place, and we had like a group of friends. And after the game, we won the game. We were very happy, and they were like, you know what? You two should work together because you're a photographer. Sophia is she was Sophia is from mathematics, but then she did interior design. She studied interior design.
Yeah.
So they're like, you should because you're so creative, and you should do something together. It's like, yeah, yeah, okay, like yeah, we were just ending a game. We won the game. We won a cup. We were very happy, very excited. A few
Yeah.
drinks. He was like, yeah, 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 fine. So next day, Sophia called me and was like, you want to give it a try? Let's see what we could. Maybe we could do something on this. Is like, okay, let's do it. And we had a friend. She had a friend of hers that invited her to do floral design for her wedding. And I thought, okay, so the photographers won't give you photos because it wasn't very common at the
Mm.
time, the photographers delivering to other vendors. So
Right.
I bought a cyber shot.
Yeah.
And I was taking photos with a very small camera. And then we came to a point where Sophia just told me, okay, you need to buy a proper camera. You're a photographer. You need to buy a proper camera.
Hilarious.
And my sister is getting married, and I think it would be very nice if you could do like an engagement photo shoot for them.
Right.
I'm like, okay, let me see what we can arrange with that. And I bought the camera, digital one, and because I didn't have like this someone telling me what to do, I didn't
Mhm.
have like a shot list to go. I had like, okay, let me use my creativity. I was away from weddings and from photography for so many times that I had to do something from in, from inside of me,
Yes.
something from my heart.
Yes.
I had so much fun. Like Sophia told
Wow.
me, she always tell me this. Like I knew the moment you were doing their photos that you were going back to photography.
Wow.
And it was like early days of blogging. We
Hmm.
posted the images. We got so many inquiries,
Yes.
and I was like, okay, so we need to think very seriously about
Wow. Yeah. Am I
doing
going to do
wedding photography.
this? Yeah.
And I started again, and I started with digital
Yeah.
for 2 years, and then I was like, I don't like this.
No,
I don't like this. I don't like
no.
I don't like digital. I it's like I don't feel myself.
Mhm.
I got not a burnout again, but I was feeling very
Interesting.
it wasn't very interesting to me,
Yes.
to shoot. So I slowly like put my in my workflow again film. First with
Right.
35 millimeter and then with medium format. And that was
Yes.
a huge, huge, huge change on everything.
Wow.
Because I was doing things, I wasn't trying to replicate what others were doing, but
Mhm.
because I was away from photography for so long
Mhm.
that I tried to create something from my own.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not creating. I That's what I thought at the time. Because today no one creates nothing new. It's like I wouldn't say that people are copying every, but like if you see a lot of images,
Yeah.
if you see images every day, I can on your subconscious,
Yes.
you will have those images, and you will try
Yeah.
to do something similar.
Yes.
So um, Sophia was a huge part of on my growth on a more artistic level
Interesting.
in photography because she's very visual.
Yes.
She's
Well, being a
always
being a florist, she must have that eye for style and
yeah,
design. Yeah.
and she's always looking for different things. She's very
Mhm.
inspired with painting and
Mhm.
other photographers. So like conversations, having like these creative meetings together. I was trying to do the things of my own, like trying to do my own photography until like you get your own style because your own style. My style, it's not different from others, but it's funny to have like sometimes to see on a post someone posted a photo of ours, and you have someone going there and it's like, oh, before I saw we shot the photo, I knew that it wasn't there. This photo is
Right.
from, and it's so funny that some people see, uh, uh, my photography style. I can't see that. It's like, it's my my
Yeah.
daily basis. I do
Yeah.
this, but it's funny to see someone else
Mm.
saying this. Like, oh, I knew the exact moment I saw the photo. This photo was from Frank Plata.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I love that. I love that, then that you're getting into your zone, into your style, and it's
Yeah.
becoming recognizably you. So wait, when you're taking a photo then, what is it that you're looking to create in a photo? What aspects of an image make you go at the end of the day, oh, I love that image. That's exactly the type of image I like to take. What elements are you looking for in terms of emotion or
Okay. So
composition or
so
lighting?
so throughout the years, you're looking for different things. Like let's create an image, like an incredible photo, or with a beautiful background, or something like
Mm,
that. And like with all these years, you perceive things on a different way. I
mm,
have like all the time thinking about, okay, I'm shooting for myself
mhm.
because I need to be the first one to be pleased with the
Yeah.
work that I do, and I know that my couples that trusted me and they love my work, I know they will be very pleased with the
Yes.
final results. But then, like throughout the years, you start to think the things a little bit differently because you're not shooting for robots, or you're
Mm,
not shooting for like fashion campaign or for a corporate client. You're shooting for
yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and you're creating their memories, like their future memories. And we started to think about that when we were looking through our parents' albums. Like weddings were so different.
Oh,
We look
yeah.
at that. We look at that and it's like, what the hell is that? Is that hairstyle? But when you look at the photos, what you see is people
Yeah.
and emotions, and like people smiling, people crying.
Yeah.
And I don't look. I When I go to a wedding, I try to deliver everything.
Mm,
Just not the photos from you know it's obviously my bride spent um, a lot of money in the wedding dresses and shoes and creating, working with a wedding planner, creating everything with an event designer. And we need to pay attention to those details because we know they are very important.
Yeah.
Also, the portraits is something that I always, it's something that I always, it's like, it's selfish, but it's to say this, but it's the moment where I have them for me for a couple
Yeah.
of minutes, and we can, like, oh, like it, it's like, I always tell this, that going to a wedding is like going to it's like dancing.
Yeah.
You need to invite someone, and they need to accept to dance with you. Although
Yeah.
I'm a very, very, very bad dancer, I don't dance. It's like I'm always the one with the weird movements.
I love
But I think,
it.
but I think it's like this. You need to invite them. Like I can't get into their space and think, okay, this is all mine. Obviously, we work a little bit before the wedding. Try to get a room with good light, clean.
Yeah.
I like all the time. Like sometimes we get there and things are not uh, clean enough, so we need to get take things
I'm
from
very often
places.
just kicking things under a bed, put that in a drawer, hide that behind
Yes,
that.
of course. But then it's like throughout the moments I see, I look for so many things throughout the wedding day. But
Yeah.
the most important thing is to get like real emotion on my photos.
Right. Yeah.
Although we don't post it because I think this is personal stuff. It's
Mm.
from it's their stuff. It's their
Yes.
photos. We don't post it that much personal
Interesting.
images. We
Yeah.
post like images that reflect like our style.
Yeah.
Um,
And
you
your
know,
love for fashion, because you love fashion and,
yeah.
yeah.
But we don't post a lot of personal moments. But those are the ones that really, um, put my heart into what I'm doing. And it's funny because um, you achieve this after a few years and getting
Mm.
moments that will touch you, from weddings. I have a very good story. It's like very shortly.
Yeah.
Um, and I went to a wedding in Brazil. I think maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Mm.
So as soon as we arrived there, um, the bride told me that the groom mothers, the groom mother had cancer, and she has like a few weeks
Wow.
uh, to live. And obviously that was a shock. And like I was on a wedding day just thinking about doing as much as I could to get like
Mm.
good photos of her
Yeah.
for their future memories.
Wow.
And although she was in very pain situation, she was always smiling. She was like making a huge effort to be on the wedding,
Wow.
smiling, like enjoying. And in Brazil, it was like a beach wedding, very hot. And at the end of the ceremony, when they exchange the rings and the vows, the parents, they stand up and go there and give them like their blessing, a hug. And I have a photo. It's documentary.
Mm.
It's I talk about this photo a lot on conferences because I think it's one of the things that we, when we talk about fine art, we tend to forget a little bit
Yeah.
that we're supposed to do these type of images, getting
Mm.
real emotions
Yeah.
on our work. And I have like a photo of the mother of the groom giving her like a hug to the bride with a huge smile. Like she's like, my interpretation of the image is like she is delivering. She's like, okay, I know my son is in good hands.
Yeah.
So when I came back home to Portugal, I sent my film to the lab, and I told them, okay, we need to rush
Mm.
this film, this process, because I want to send these images while the mother of the groom is still alive, because I want
Yeah.
her to see the images. So f- fast forwarding She died, and a couple of months later, the bride has the album ready to deliver, and she came. She was at the time living in Switzerland. She came. I could send it the album, but she was like, no, 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 I want to go there and pick up the album by myself. So she came here, and I never see my clients seeing an album because I always send them. And she
Yeah.
was like looking to the images, and she was like smiling. Oh my God, look at this picture. This picture is so funny. Oh my God, look at me, blah, 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 blah. And then she's just stopped on that picture, and she touched the photo. And that was such a, I don't know, like a moment
Oh
that,
yeah.
such an intense moment for me, that from so many pictures that she had from the wedding, she just stopped on that photo. That was my favorite photo from the wedding. And that gave me like this sense of being on a wedding day. It's just not taking, obviously delivering the work they are expecting, but
Yeah.
also surprising them with something they're not expecting. You know?
Wow.
And I think that makes a huge difference
Yeah.
um, on our line of work,
Yes.
when we have the ability of surprising the
I love
couples
that.
with something they're not expecting.
Yeah. And
So I would say that
it's interesting that you were faced with that scenario, that you know that she's going to die in a few weeks, so you're really thinking, because it's a thought that I always have at weddings, exactly like you said. I always trying to find the elderly people there, assuming that they're grandparents, and try and get a beautiful natural portrait of them at some point in the day, because I'm aware I don't know if that's the last picture that may ever be taken of them.
exactly,
And so,
exactly.
and it's not a picture that's ever going to go on my website or in my portfolio, but I know that that picture could become very precious in a very
It's,
short space of time. We just don't
it,
know. And yeah.
but it will. It will. I think um, I went to some clients' houses and I saw pictures hanging on the walls. And it's very funny because you see pictures that you're not expecting to see them on
Yes.
the walls. And
Yes,
it's
that's
normally
very
it's,
true.
like family photos, or, like they have
Yeah.
like beautiful landscape photos or pictures of them, or,
Yeah.
beautiful portraits. And, maybe they want to frame those photos, but then you
Yeah.
see photos that you're not expecting.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, like message deliver, and
Yeah.
my work was accomplished.
That's interesting. I mean, for my own wedding, I've got my wedding pictures up on the wall there, and I think I've got one portrait, and we did loads of portraits. I think I've got one portrait on the wall. I've got one picture of my mum cleaning my shoes on the morning of the wedding. I've got a picture of my dad laughing, like this big belly laugh, and the
Yeah,
same with my mother-in-law.
yeah,
Actually, those are the pictures that I really treasure, and I put on the
yeah.
wall. And
It's true, and it's funny because people, I think they now I think they now understand the importance of these pictures.
mm,
Last week, month in DC, we were at the party, and the groom came to me. It was like, I know that you're creative and that's what we love about you, but what I love more about your work is your candid photos. You can
yeah,
be so intense and you get so many emotions. So I want to ask you if you can take a photo of me and a friend of mine. I don't know if it's something that you do on weddings. It's like, of course, I'm a photographer. I do everything that
yeah,
you want because you are the one that hire me,
yeah,
and I'm the photographer. I'm here
yeah.
to deliver whatever you want.
Yeah, I say
So
to them, it's your day. You get whatever you want. Whatever you want, you just ask.
exactly, exactly. So I have time. If I only need to have my time, and this is something that we
Mm,
work before the wedding. Like I need 30 minutes with you. I need 15 minutes with you, and then at this point, we need a you again because the light will be very good. Like But apart from that, it's like shooting the things, going a little bit with the flow. It's like
yeah,
we can't predict what's going to happen. We can't
yeah,
predict if we're going to have like amazing speeches, if
yeah,
we have like good reactions on the speeches, if we have a good party. I love to shoot a party. It's
yeah.
where everyone is.
And actually, interestingly, because I photographed a wedding a few years ago that was actually friends of mine. They go to my church, so there was a lot of other people from my church there. And on the dance floor, I'm just going around getting pictures of people on the dance floor, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time as this older guy swings around like just wild with, I don't know, just dancing. He wasn't even drunk; he was just having a great time. And I got this incredible picture of him. But he's actually a very quiet man and very introverted and doesn't really talk a lot and doesn't really do a lot. And so this picture is actually, even for me personally, has become one of my favorite pictures of all time, because I know that was him coming out of his shell and really enjoying himself on the dance floor. If I'm just a photographer at the wedding, I might not realize what a special moment that is and what a special picture that is. But like you said, just looking for people and life and movement can actually mean a lot to your couple when they get there.
I have a special way of shooting on the dance floor.
Oh, go on then.
Because I shoot a little bit of black and white with a point and shoot camera, small camera. I try to get my smallest cameras to the dance floor, and then it's with digital. I always try to use the hyperfocal. So with a flash, and I will sync with 1 second or half a second, and my aperture at 11.
Right. Yeah.
So I put my focal distance at 1 meter or something. So I know everything will be always on focus.
Yes.
So my cameras are never in front of my face. I use a 35 millimeter or 24 millimeter, depends on if it's a big, party or not. And then I'm just there, like smiling. And I take the picture and I do this, like, boom, boom, boom.
I love it.
And it's like,
that's exactly how I used to shoot the dance floor as well, except I use a flash, and then I do a long exposure to get the lights streaking around, and it had the laser that came out of the flash, so I could just hold the camera up and I could see the laser on someone's face, so I knew they were going to be in focus, and so I just click, and exactly like you, I'm dancing, I'm smiling, I'm holding the camera up, but then I changed the flash and I haven't got the same. I have to look through the viewfinder now, which is kind of cramped my style. But I'm laughing, I'm dancing, I'm singing.
I think for me, I lose a little bit the moments if I had to use the viewfinder.
I definitely don't like it as well.
I use it like this because I will know that everything will be on focus with a flash, with a slow sync, And I'm not a very technical person. When you put like a digital camera, it's very funny because last year Canon in Portugal invited me to go to a gathering and to talk about the new EOS R. And I was like, okay, so I'm a film photographer. I'm not very technical in digital cameras. And then we had like a round table, and the guy that was doing the questions, he was like, okay, yesterday we were having dinner and you told something very interesting, because the camera has thousands of menus, different things that you can change, and you just personalize because the camera is very nice because you can personalize all the buttons and stuff. And I told him, because the new lenses for the EOS R, they also have a dial that you can customize.
Right.
And I told him, okay, so I enjoyed very much the camera because I could customize the camera as a film camera. So I only use like aperture, speed, and ISO. I don't care about white balance. I don't care about 1 million focal points of the camera. Don't ask me anything about anything on the menu because I don't know nothing. Nothing. I don't care about those because it won't do anything for my photography. Anything. So all my cameras is like, I don't know the menus. I just customize the camera for what I need, and that's it. But it's like body photos. We know that people can be, they're on a point of the day that they are very happy. They're just released, the formal side of the wedding day, and
Yeah.
they just enjoy it, and we need to be there, also enjoying it,
Yeah.
because I think, like, throughout the wedding, one of the things that I say every time is like, the first thing you will see on the wedding day, when I will knock at the door and you open the door, it's my smile. And my smile was going throughout the day. Sometimes we have,
Yes.
like, unexpected moments,
Mm.
but I'm always smiling. It's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, the weather is not good, or the light is not good, but it's like,
Yeah.
I'm always saying, yeah, yeah, it's good. You're good over there. Perfect lights, and the light is not that
Yeah.
good. But you need to make we
Yeah.
need to make them feel comfortable. It's like, not
Yeah.
not that we're not enjoying something that we're
Yeah.
doing. And it's so funny because I often I get, like, guests from weddings coming to me, and they're like, I just need you to congratulate you for your job. And it's like, okay, thank you, but you haven't seen the photos
Yeah.
yet. So
Yeah.
I think it's too early to say that. And it's like, no, it's just your posture,
Yeah.
because you always have time to take the pictures. You look like a ninja. No one can see you, but
Brilliant.
you always have a smile to someone. You always have a word to someone, because I
Nice.
love to talk with. I'm a,
You're a people person.
a
You
people
like people.
person.
Yeah.
And I like sometimes to be there talking with someone, people asking me questions, and it's like, oh, you're from Portugal. They ask me, and like, I like to think that I'm a good ambassador of my city. And it's like, oh, you
Mhm.
need to come to Porto because it's amazing. And then Portugal, it's not a huge country. You can go from the cities in 5 hour driving, so you can explore everything. And they're like very interested when they know I'm from Portugal. It's like, oh, why you came so far to shoot a wedding? It's like, isn't there enough good photographers here in the U.S.? It's like, yeah, yeah, I know. Maybe because I'm European, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think the couple wanted some exotic
Yeah.
um, thing on the wedding, so I'm the exotic.
Oh, I had a funny interaction with a client, with a guest at a wedding once, because he said, where are you from? And I wasn't from anywhere nearby. And so he was like, well, how did they find you? Like, with that tone of voice. I said, on the internet. And he went, well, why did they hire you? And I went, because I'm really good.
Yeah, I I did I do that in Portugal, because it's something, um like, it's such a small country. Like, I can
Hmm.
go to Lisbon or in 3 hours, and I go
Yeah.
there and shoot the wedding. And Fausto, when he goes with me, not only we're a team of three, I have a second shooter, and Fausto goes with us. And Fausto
Right.
is like a machine on the wheels. It's like he never sleeps. Is
Oh
like,
my
I don't
goodness.
know. It's like, it's not human. It's not it. It's I don't think that it's a human do what he does when he goes to driving a car. So
Hilarious.
sometimes we could, like, after the wedding, we could stay there one night and sleeping and
Mm.
come in the morning. But it's like, Fausto is always telling me, no, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm good to drive. And it's like 5 minutes later, I'm sleeping on the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
And when I wake up, we're in Porto already. So it's
Oh
like, he
my
goes, he
goodness.
stops, he smokes a cigarette, refill the car, and I'm sleeping because, like, I'm we're all almost the same age. He's just 1 year
Amazing.
younger than me, but I'm older than him. So I need to sleep now, because
That's your
mentally,
excuse. Like, your excuse, you're
no, no,
sticking to it.
mentally, I'm very
Yes. Oh,
exhausted after
absolutely.
after a wedding. It's not, like, not something with, like, with your body, because it's like going
Mm.
to the gym and
Yes.
you're used to this. Obviously,
Yeah.
I can't deny it. Like, my legs hurt a lot, my back hurts a lot, but it's something that it's bearable.
Yes.
But
Yes.
mentally, it's like I'm
Yes.
so exhausting after
You've
a
really
wedding.
poured yourself into the day, into.
So that's one of the reasons why I had to get, like, less weddings a year, and
Yeah.
I wanted to have more time for my clients,
How
and
many weddings a year do you shoot now?
Maximum of the maximum will be 15.
Right. Yeah, and
So
that just is a perfect number for you.
12 for me, it's a perfect number.
Right.
And especially because 3 years ago, uh, 3 years and a half ago, we decided to start to work with to corporate clients.
Hmm.
And we got a proposal to do some campaigns to a football team that
Hmm.
actually is the football team that I support, me and Sophia.
Okay.
So it was a huge honor to do something for them. So they have like a store here here at our street.
Hmm.
So we came full of clothes. We hired two models. We did a couple of photos, and then we delivered the images. And like 1 hour after, they were calling me. It's like, can we use the photos on our social media? It's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's an honor. And like one day after, they set up a meeting, and we went there. And since there, we're shooting all the products for them. So every week we have products to be photographed. So we work with another photographer that worked with us, because I don't do products photography. I don't work really well on studio with lightning. So we
Yeah.
worked with him, and it was really interesting because like I started in motorsports and football,
Yeah.
and then all these years after, we're back in business
How
again on the
interesting.
on the football,
So
and
interesting.
then after that, a team from Spain that is like one of the biggest teams in Spain. It's Valencia. Uh, our team refer them
Yeah.
uh, because they wanted to have like the same line of
Yeah.
products photographed, and they wanted uh, to know who the photographer was. So we went to
Mm.
Valencia to shoot uh,
Wow.
images, and we started to work with them. So we have like
Yeah.
two major clients these days,
That's
huge
so
clients,
so fun. Amazing.
and was also one of the reasons that we need to slow down a little bit of
Yeah.
weddings. I
Yeah.
won't stop shooting weddings
No.
uh,
Because you
because
love the emotion of it. Yeah.
I still love it, and I won't see myself doing it.
No.
I
No.
won't see myself not doing them. So I
Yeah.
still shoot the weddings, but we
Well,
have
because
more.
you still get choked up when you see somebody, crying or
I
emotional. It's still choke. You still get emotional when you see your
yeah.
people on a wedding day emotional, and so
Yeah,
that never gets old.
I'm not that guy that cries behind the camera,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
cry
like,
behind the camera.
but I stay there, like with the camera and just looking like, oh, and then oh shit, I need to take a picture.
I'm exactly the same.
That there's things that you're there just watching. It's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
so
Oh
emotional.
wait, I'm supposed
Oh,
to be
I have to take
working.
it.
Like, yeah, yeah.
I have to take pictures. And that not constantly, but it happens, and it
Amazing.
happens
Now, Andrew, as we come towards the end, can you let people know, because you've got some workshops possibly coming up in the future, but for the meantime, people can do mentoring with you. Can you
Yeah.
tell a little bit about how the mentoring works, what it is that you like to help people to do during those
So
mentoring sessions?
so we do with the mentoring sessions. We're open. Like we normally send a questionnaire to them to see what they're looking for, to know, because like one day we talk a lot. So one day it's not enough to talk about everything. So we need to know specifically what they're looking for. If
Yeah.
it's like more technical stuff, if there's like business, or if it's
Mhm.
like they need to build portfolio.
Mhm.
It could be anything. Because we're ready, like we prepare all our mentoring sessions, and from that we started to work on what the day is going to be, because if it's
Mhm.
only business, we have to talk about you know a lot of things like numbers, which is
Yeah.
not my favorite, but Sophia is very good on that.
Yes.
But then sometimes it's like more for photography, or more creative design, or creative direction or flowers, and I'm also there helping it because I see the work of Sophia on a photography perspective, and Sophia sees my photography in the creative director perspective, which is it's a very good compliment in both. So that's what we do. Like we try to, we don't have like one contact sheet, like prepared, like Excel.
It's customized. Prepared. It's customized.
It will be customized always. So we need to find out what they're looking for, where their struggle, and we try to do something. Fortunately, when they leave from our studio, they're going very happy because we do work a lot on those mentoring sessions. For the day.
Amazing. So I presume they come to your website to get more information about mentoring with you.
We have everything there.
Brilliant. For those that are listening to the audio podcast, can you just give the address of your website so people can go and get in contact with you?
Yeah, it's blancplata.com.
Brilliant.
It's a Portuguese name. We never wanted to have like it's two colors. It's combining.
Oh, okay.
It's a white silver in English. It's blanco plata. It was Sophia that has like she was working on a design, and she just named the folders white silver because it was the colors of the weddings she was working. And we love the way that it sounded, and it's so funny because like everywhere we go, people say on their own, like on their own way. Like in France they say it differently, in Spain they say it differently, in the UK they say it differently. It's so funny too. It sounds very exotic,
It really does. It's a lovely name.
But it's nothing special. It's just white silver.
How interesting. So good. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with us. It's been an absolute joy to talk to you.
I'm the one to thank you for inviting me. It was absolutely a pleasure to be here talking to you. You're super nice to talk with. So,
I feel like if we didn't have to cut the podcast short to make it an hour, we would talk for hours and hours. Just
we will be here. It will be like Sunday, and we will still be here just trying to have our meals and talking. I'm sorry. I'm just eating.
Amazing.
I know how these things are. We had so many things to say, but it's like we don't have time.
Amazing. So if you haven't seen Andre's work yet, you can head over to his website, have a look at his work. It is absolutely incredible, very, very creative and full of emotion. And you can also come to the Love Light Facebook group, and I'll posted some of Andre's work a couple of days ago, so you can come and have a look at his work there as well. And I look forward to speaking to you again sometime in the future and seeing how many more famous football teams you've taken photos of.
That would be very interesting. That would be very interesting.
Well, thank you so much.
One per country.
Yes. Oh, well, why not? Why not?
Let's try to find one in the UK.
Yes, let's do it. Amazing. Thank you so much, André.
Okay, thank you so much.
If you enjoyed today's episode, you can find more interviews, tips and inspiration in the Love Light Fine Art community on Facebook. You can also follow along with each new episode on the Love Light YouTube, podcast and Instagram. And don't forget to visit www.sarahjaneethan.co.uk/lovelight for information on training, real-life wedding workshops and online courses to develop your own fine art photography and connect with more of the clients you love.